There's a light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Love, getting more out of life. Love, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Hello, welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy, and alongside me, as always, is the brilliant Jo Stanley. And I think she's finally had enough of me. You've decided you're going to bring along your own friend today.
I have. You know, Darcy, it's always a joy to be here with you, but I have invited Anjali Rao, global news anchor and broadcast journalist, who often joins me as co-host on Broad Radio. She's sitting in with me today. Angie, it's so great to see you.
Oh, you too, my darling, you too. I mean, I suppose this isn't really a space where many people would expect to see me, but I am a big fan of both health and wellness. Big fan, huge, huge fan. And since we're talking about women's health awareness today, I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you're better than me today, Anjali, I think, because I'm going to do my best to be an active part of this, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to learn a few things along the way in today's show, Jo.
Well, as you need to. You know, we're going to be speaking about perhaps some topics that are considered taboo, but those topics, you know, they might make you feel like you want to just, I don't know, be sucked up by the earth, but men need to know about these things as well, don't you think, Angie?
Absolutely, it's high time.
Yeah. So tell me, do you split these sorts of conversations along gender lines in your home? Because you've got 3 sons and a daughter. How do you have these sorts of conversations?
Well, it's an interesting question, Jo. It's not a conscious thing, but it probably just sort of happens, isn't it? If there's something that's in my sphere and you feel like maybe sort of one-on-one with the boys, I probably tend to handle that. And I get very nervous around, you know, in most occasions. So probably Beck tends to handle the tricky female conversations. It's probably how it works.
Today you're in for some secret women's business, Dars, because there's no reason that women or men should have to keep mum when it comes to their health.
And we've certainly seen a shift in that when it comes to men's mental health as well, which we're really passionate about. The fact that these days it's deemed acceptable to open up a lot more, and as a result, men from all kinds of backgrounds are speaking up about their personal issues. Have you found that as well, Angela, in your world, that men are much more open than they were in the past?
Oh, 100%. You know, my partner, my male friends, they're just so sharey. But, you know, if I would talk to my granddad or, you know, even my dad, I don't think that they could even spell the word emotions, let alone talk about them.
Well, it's also true, I think, for menopause. Women will experience it, of course. In fact, around 2 million Aussie women have gone through it recently. Yet it's pretty new to speak about it. And are you there yet?
I'm not actually sure, to be honest, Jo. I haven't had anything for 10 months, no periods for 10 months, but the doctor tells me that I'm not there yet, and I haven't had any hot flashes, and my mood's, like, really stable, so I think I've got a little way to go.
Well, thankfully, we're starting to talk about it more openly because there's a lot more to menopause than just hot flushes, and there's absolutely no reason for women to suffer in silence.
The symptoms that I experienced were profound muscular fatigue and pain, exhaustion, so I would have to nap during the day. I also experienced a lot of trouble concentrating and quite significant brain fog, to the point where I knew that it would have been dangerous to drive my car at times, so I wouldn't. I recall being very teary and not necessarily being able to control the tears. Sleep was difficult. It was difficult to get to sleep, and also waking up at bizarre times in the night. And then on occasion, I'd also experience full-blown panic attacks in the night times, and hot sweats, wet, and feel completely wet through as well. Certainly, I feel it was affecting my relationships. I didn't have the same amount of patience with my children, especially. My inability to concentrate very well was definitely affecting my performance at work. I thought that it was because it was due to stress. I actually found myself at a rheumatologist because I was having quite severe muscular pain, and I went to her thinking that I'd had some other condition, and she said to me, "Karen, have you ever Googled the symptoms of menopause?" And I just said to her, "No." And it was actually her who suggested that I go and see Dr. Khan.
majority of the time, the menopause is used as an umbrella term to talk about the perimenopause and the postmenopause. And this is a time in a woman's life when the ovaries are not producing enough eggs, which means they're not going to be producing enough hormones, and it can last from 7 to 10 years. So it starts with the perimenopause, which starts 5 to 10 years before the menopause, and then you go to the menopause, which is 12 months of no bleeding, and then after that, it will be called postmenopause. So I think the terminology itself can be a bit confusing, but essentially it's when women's reproductive life or her fertility is coming to an end, which is a common transition, and it's a natural transition that every woman will experience. We all associate menopause as something that will happen when we're much older, but actually majority of the women will start experiencing symptoms anywhere from their early 40s. And it's just being more aware of what the symptoms are so then they can get appropriate support. So I think the classical symptoms we associate with menopause are hot flushes and night sweats and a bit of sleep disturbance. And most of the women will put up with those symptoms, but those are not the symptoms that bother women. It's the mental health aspect, anxiety, depression, low mood, low energy, low motivation, and the cognitive symptoms which really impact women's ability to function and perform at work. Menopausal women, and broadly speaking, women between 45 to 55 are the fastest growing demographic in the workplace. So menopause is everyone's business. But the short-term goal is quality of life. How are you functioning? Are you functioning to your best ability at work? Are you functioning as a mother, as a partner, as a colleague? If a woman feels that she's not being her best self emotionally, physically, psychologically, then she needs help. Estrogen is not just there as a reproductive hormone. It has a very important role in our brain health, our heart health, our bone health, and our gut health. I mean, there's receptors for these hormones all over the body. So when they decline at menopause, there are far more consequences in our long-term health and short-term health than just our period stopping. HRT or MHT, which is menopause hormone therapy or hormone replacement therapy, essentially means missing the hormones that are declining or missing. And they tend to be estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. I think menopause is a great time where you can actually step back and see what can I do in my nutrition, in my exercise, in my sleep, that will make this transition really smooth, but also will make you more empowered to live a more joyful and happier life going forward.
I have more energy now. I am sleeping a lot better. I'm feeling happier in myself. I'm feeling more positive. I'm not tearing up throughout the day. I feel like I'm being a better mother than I used to be. I would say most definitely it has been life-changing to the point where I feel I have a second lease on life now. You needn't suffer with your symptoms. You can actually feel better. That's a real gift for not just the woman, but I think that's a gift for all the people who are around that woman.
Menopause is not the end, it's the start. And it's the most liberating time in your life. It could be a time when you're not having to look after your children and it's about you. I think with the right mindset and the right support, women can go on to live their best lives that's yet to come.
And it's so great to see the emphasis move away from just night sweats and hot flushes, because there's a whole raft of psychological symptoms that are much more debilitating, like the emotional side of it that causes such trauma. Some women damage relationships, their careers, and even lose their partners.
It really is unbelievable. You know, those hormones, the powerful little beasties, aren't they? You know, but then there's the physical things, Jo, like dry skin, dry eyes. It's like all the moisture in your body just goes, poof, disappears.
Yes, but every age brings change, and I look at getting older as an absolute privilege with lots of benefits. You have more time to do the things you love, you get grandkids that can be handed back, and you get better at being you, don't you think? I have to say that I like myself so much more at this age than I did 20 years ago.
Absolutely agree. And, you know, I think the best thing about getting older is not sweating the small stuff and really not giving a damn what other people think.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, as for buying into all that unnecessary drama, forget about it. And look, I truly believe that sex gets better with age. For women, including myself anyway.
Well, that is a whole other conversation, and we are going to lift the covers on how to make sex a pleasure and never a pain next on the House of Wellness. At the start of the show, I told Darcy we'd let him into some secret women's business, but sometimes girl talk is best left to, well, the girls, Ange.
Yes, I did have my suspicions when Darcy said, I've just left something in my car and I may be some time.
Yeah, he's excused himself, but that's great because, Ange, let's talk about sex. Is it something you find easy to chat about either with your girlfriends or your partner?
Some would say too easy.
I would agree with that. I've been out with you. Yes, I've flushed a little. But the feedback I hear most often from female friends is the key to great sex is feeling relaxed in both body and mind. If you're thinking about things, you know, that you've got to do, whether it's a stressful week or you've had a crappy day, you're working through your to-do list, which, let's face it, all women have 1,000 things in our head, it's not going to be good, or sometimes it's just not going to happen at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the preferable way is maybe a glass of wine or two, nice lighting, you're in that really sort of close, cuddly space with your partner, as opposed to the I've just been scrubbing the bog or we've just been discussing your exes and you hear the dread words, hey, babe, how about it?
You don't want that.
It's not ideal.
I like a house to be clean as well, so I tell my husband, how about you fold the laundry? Which I always say, foreplay starts with housework, I think. Of course, we all agree that sex is meant to be enjoyable, and while talking about it can make some people feel uncomfortable, the one thing sex shouldn't ever be is painful. Here to help make sure sex is a pleasure and not a pain is specialist pelvic health physiotherapist Sian Morrison. Welcome, Sian.
Hi, Jo. Thanks for having me.
Sian, it seems that as many as 1 in 5 women experience pain when having sex. Is that an accurate number? It seems a lot.
It is that high, Jo. I know. So there's a lot of women experiencing painful sex, and it really has a big impact on their quality of life and their self-esteem and their relationship, because sex is an important part of life.
And what are some of the reasons?
So there's a number of causes, and they're both physical and emotional. So it might be hormonal changes or an infection or a skin condition or tight pelvic floor muscles, or it can be fear and anxiety, sexual inexperience or sort of lack of awareness. And then women who have endometriosis often experience pain with sex and other sort of pelvic pain conditions during and after menopause, after having had a baby. And then sometimes we actually don't know the reason.
And, you know, you often hear people saying, oh, if sex is painful, then it's all in your head. Is that the case?
Yeah, we do hear that too often, actually. So what's interesting is that pain is always produced by the brain. So the brain is often on high alert and it wants to protect and guard us, and that can lead to muscle spasm and tension. So it's a little bit like when you're stressed, you might get shoulder tension or muscle tension, and that might lead to a headache. So when the pelvic floor muscles get tense or spasmed, that can lead to a bit of a headache in the pelvis or pain in that area.
And, of course, you know, as you say, it is important to relax during sex. But if you're worried that it's going to hurt, then it's almost impossible to think of anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. So that vicious cycle happens where you anticipate pain, you're worried about it, you're finding it hard to relax, you can't relax your muscles, and then that has a big flow-on effect to a whole lot of things, like you're not wanting to engage in sex.
Well, it obviously stands to reason that if that was happening, then it would have a knock-on effect for your relationship, right? Paint us the picture of what you've experienced.
Yeah, so my patients will often say to me, I don't feel normal, I feel like I'm not a good partner. They worry that maybe they're not going to be able to have a baby. They worry that their partner might leave them or, you know, find someone else if they can't have sex. And so, you know, that has a big flow-on effect to how they feel about themselves and every aspect of their life.
So what can partners do to help?
I think listening, being supportive, encouraging their partner to seek help. So even though they might feel like they're alone and there's nothing that can be done, I really think supporting and encouraging them to see somebody about it.
And what's the treatment for a woman who might be experiencing painful sex?
Yeah, so it's important to rule out that there's no kind of medical cause, but once they've got a diagnosis, so that might be from a GP or a gynaecologist, then a team approach is the best. So that would usually be a doctor, a pelvic health physio, and then maybe a psychologist or a psychotherapist or a sexual counsellor, and that really gets the best results. So sometimes I see women who've tried for many years to sort of self-manage, but they really need like support, guidance and a sort of structured program.
So, Sian, if someone's watching this and thinking, oh, my gosh, this is me, what's one message that you would like to share with them?
Oh, Jo, I really want them to know that they're not alone and that they should seek help. this might be a common problem, but it's not normal and it's really treatable. And I just love supporting people to improve not just reducing pain with sex, but actually being able to have sex that's enjoyable, pleasurable and fun.
Well, Sian, we do love having you on. Every time you walk in the room, I think, oh, I must get onto my Kegels. How long has it been? So,
Yes.
you know.
Contracting and relaxing and enjoying.
Hey.
Not just contracting.
No, I've got it, OK. I'm not doing it now, but I'll do it later. Okay.
Good.
Shedding some light for us today on this really important conversation, so thank you.
That's my pleasure.
Joe, you and I have bonded a lot over our shared love of dogs. Now, just patting them releases feel-good hormones in dogs and in us, and owning them during the pandemic has been a lifesaver for many people. It gave us a reason to leave the house often and sometimes multiple times a day, Joe.
Absolutely. And you've got to say that you get an instant rapport with other dog owners sometimes. In our neighbourhood, we all know each other as the Labrador owners. We have a little WhatsApp group where we share our Labrador photos. It's a little bit tragic, to be honest.
Glad you said that. Now, there's a certain amount of dog etiquette at the same time, though, I think, Joe. Obviously, you want to ask, I think, before patting a stranger's dog, I think that's fair, but is there anything that you try and stop Daisy from doing with other people, or is there anything that bothers you about other dog owners?
Look, I know what it's like to have a dog that's very difficult to train. Certainly it's been very challenging with Daisy. So I feel like when other owners have a dog that's a bit out of control and it's not on a lead, particularly in areas where it's not an off-lead area, like around the streets, I'm like, just put the dog on a lead, don't you think?
I think that's a fair point, Joe. If your dog's a bit out of control, perhaps it should be on the lead.
Yeah, but there are stricter rules when it comes to working assistance dogs.
And this Wednesday, April 27th, is International Guide Dogs Day. It's the perfect time to get a refresher on working dog etiquette. Now, before we do, let's meet Lavinia and her human cadet, who credits his faithful friend for literally saving his life.
Got a phone call and said that they found my match, and that's when I met Lavinia. First time we met, like, wow, that was crazy. She ran straight into me and ready for a chest rub. I knew she was my dog there and then. And yeah, ever since then, we've never been separated.
Kadek Atiana's 3-year-old Labrador, Lavinia, is much more than just his best friend. Lavinia is a highly trained guide dog, one of 700 in Australia, who Kadek says gave him a second chance at life.
I can't imagine my life without Lavinia, to be honest. Like, ever since she came into my life, she just gave me that extra freedom. Even like with my mental health, like having someone there always for me, it's just been incredible.
Kadek was 10 years old when he lost the vision in his left eye. Shockingly, 10 years later, in a separate trauma, he lost the sight in his right eye and fell into a deep depression.
Nobody understand what I was going through, you know? And it was a lonely experience, and I was scared for a while, and yeah. I basically gave up in life and then ended up in Alfred Hospital and under suicide watch, and in that dark moment I somehow found myself, and that's when Guide Dog Victoria came into my life.
After struggling mentally and physically for over 9 years, Kadek finally got the support he needed. And in September 2020, just before his 30th birthday, Kadek received the call he'd been waiting for, a match with his dog, Lavinia.
I was so excited and could not wait to meet her. And when we finally meet, we're basically not even strangers. She gave me more freedom. Like, ever since I have Lavinia, like, I can go to my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training on my own. I can just go to the beach on my own. I can go to the shop on my own.
Lavinia's trained to recognise obstacles, help cross busy roads and navigate safely through crowds without being distracted.
She'll stop on the curb, so before we cross the road, she will find a traffic light for me. She will even guide me around poop, like dog poop that people left behind. It was the biggest relief, just exploring the world again and meeting new people and finding my community, and was just like, wow, if I could do this, and anybody could do it, you know?
Work hard, mate, work hard. Yeah, good. Right in the middle. Kick to my voice.
Kick.
And I used to play football before I went blind. It's one of my favourite sports, and when I heard there's a blind AFL, I was just so excited, and now I play for St Kilda, and last year we won our first premiership.
And Kadek didn't stop there. After reading about a blind grappler in New Zealand, Kadek decided to start jiu-jitsu training himself.
Right now, put his head to your chest and then walk your legs in.
Jiu-jitsu with Lavinia. She just watch on the side while I do my training, and then later on at home, we play a little bit of tug of war and wrestle, and she loves that, yeah.
Kadek is on a mission to tell the world about Guide Dogs Victoria. In 2021, he rode from Melbourne to Sydney in 9 days, raising over $15,000. And this year, he plans on doing it again.
I want to ride from Melbourne to Adelaide and Adelaide back. It's really important for the community to know who they are and what they are doing for us, for my community. They saved my life. They basically are my guardian angel.
Kadek and Lavinia are just one pair of the thousands of guide dogs helping vision-impaired Aussies. And here to tell us more, welcome Alex, who's a puppy development advisor, and Loretta, who is raising young Nash. Welcome to you both. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, Alex, so many questions to ask. You had a different role last time we saw you. What's changed and why?
Well, a lot has changed in the last 12 months. I've actually come on board as a puppy development advisor for guide dogs. Dream job, by the way. I mean, working with puppies every day. So my job, pretty much all I do is work with puppy raisers who look after our pups for the first 12 months of their lives. I oversee the puppy raisers and make sure that the pups are progressing with their training, hitting their milestones, regularly catch up with them, provide support, and then do some little one-on-one training with the pups as well.
So, Loretta, you're one of the puppy raisers. You've got little Nash here. Tell us about him. How old is he?
OK, so Nash has just turned 8 weeks old, so just 2 months old. And we have little Nash until he's around about 12 to 14 months. So once he gets there, we hand him back.
And what's the process for you? What kind of training do you do with Nash?
We mainly just get them to be confident and make sure that they can walk in the streets happily and that they're not fazed by things, so that they're quite they're quite
He's a good
happy.
Communicator.
Oh, he is, yes. It's more food, more food, more food. He's a true lab.
Yes, yeah.
So it's mainly just giving him confidence, just doing basic rules, sit down, stand. We don't have to teach them to stop at, sit down at traffic lights or anything like that. That in formal training, they go through that, so.
I'm sure that you get asked this all the time. It must be very difficult to hand them back after 12 to 14 months with this little guy.
It is. It's a very difficult process, no sugarcoating that, but when you see what they do, it really does put it all in perspective.
Alex, how do you match up the guide dogs with the handlers?
Well, it's a bit of a matchmaking process. We have pups coming through the program that are little, they're big, they're energetic, they're lazy, they're different colours, they're different personalities. So we have a lot of different pups that we then potentially match to different personalities, different lifestyles. It's certainly a bit of a process to get the perfect match. And, you wouldn't put necessarily a 2 metre tall person with a really small dog. So it's definitely, there's a lot of thought that goes into that process.
So how much does it cost for a dog to go through the whole process?
It takes $50,000 to breed, raise and train one single guide dog. So from the start to the finish of the process, from 8 weeks old to 14 to 16 months of age, and then beyond, matching with the client, $50,000. So if anyone wants to get involved in terms of donating or puppy raising, jump onto the Guide Dogs Australia website where we can find out more information. Getting to be involved with these little guys and changing someone's life for the better.
Last time you were in, I think it was Lance that was with us. How did Lance end up?
Little Lance isn't so little anymore. He's a really big boy, and he's currently, as we speak, in his guide dog assessment, which runs for 1 week. They're put through their paces, and the 12-month journey for him has been pretty incredible. He's certainly tested his puppy raiser at times. He has been a little bit cheeky, but we're really excited to see how he goes in his assessment.
Well, it's always a highlight catching up with you guys every year. We thank you for coming in again, Alex and Loretta, for your expertise and hearing how little Nash is going on his journey to becoming a guide dog. We thank you for your time again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Unlabelled is about trying to teach kids to learn to accept themselves for who they are. So regardless of race, religion, gender, sexuality, or body type, because these are the issues that create the mental health problems that lead to youth suicide. Every year, over 70,000 young Australians try to take their own life.
Anthony and his partner Chris left the corporate world to embark on a journey in social enterprise. Inspired by their 18-year-old daughter Grace and the struggles of her peers, their aim is to create change for the next generation.
At Unlabelled, we're donating 100% of our profits back to the prevention of youth suicide. We're supporting charities where their whole focus is on protecting the mental health of young Australians. We have a background in luxury skincare, so what we've done is bring that same level of luxury into an affordable everyday skincare range. We have 5 hand washes, we have 5 body washes, and we have 3 body bars. So if people are familiar with soap, we've reinvented it. We have, over 10 beautiful essential oil fragrances. Every product has hand harvested Tasmanian sea kelp in it, which is actually a marine collagen, which will make the skin feel beautiful and smooth and soft. On top of all that, it's also vegan, cruelty-free, and of course 100% Australian made. It was just as important to look after the environment as it was the community. Our bottles are made from 100% reclaimed post-consumer waste plastic, which means that we're saving plastic from going into landfill and our waterways. And then with our boxes on the body bars, they are actually produced from certified, fully sustainable source pulp, protecting our forests. By buying Unlabelled, you're helping us save lives. Because, at Unlabelled, we say the only thing that we think should be put inside a box are our products.
We hear a lot about companies being environmentally friendly with their products, which is great, Joe, but it is fantastic to see an organisation doing its bit for mental health as well, especially in the suicide prevention space.
Yeah. We've touched on a few topics today that are quite sensitive, Darcy. I must say, tackling subjects that are taboo is right up my alley because it's the things that make people squirm that affect us most, so we need to talk about them.
I think you've got a good ability to make me squirm, Joe, pretty regularly.
I enjoy it,
on this.
can you tell?
I know. You do it a lot. Now, our father-daughter combination that has always got the answers on tricky topics is our resident doctors, Nick and Isabel Carr. This week, they're here to protect us all by delivering the facts on contraception.
Hi and welcome to Medicine Past, Present and Future. My name's Dr Nick and I'm the past.
And my name's Dr Isabel and I'm the future.
And together, we're the present.
So, Dr Nick, today we're talking about a topic that can make most fathers and daughters a bit uncomfortable to discuss, but it's really important.
Are you talking about my taste in shirts again? I mean, I told you could choose.
No, you've done well with that today, Dr Nick. We're talking about contraception, what it is, how long it's been around for, and all the different types.
And you're right, it can be an awkward conversation, but it's one I have every day with patients. I presume you do too.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily, these days, we have a few more options than we're used to. But Dr Nick, why don't you take us through some of the ancient remedies for contraception?
Well, I don't know how effective they were, but there are old Egyptian scrolls which describe a mixture of lint, honey and acacia leaves that women used as a barrier method. And the plant Queen Anne's lace was commonly used in ancient Egypt to stop pregnancy.
Oh, it's still used today, isn't it?
That's right. And of course, versions of condoms or sheaths have been around since the Renaissance. So, Dr. Isabel, if we think about the types of contraceptive options, how many different ones do you reckon we've got these days?
I reckon there are about 9 different classes of contraception, and the important thing to remember is of those, only one type actually protects against sexually transmitted infections, and that's the barrier method.
Yeah, and that's male and female condoms because it provides a physical barrier between the genitals. But what about the other 8 classes, Dr. Isabel? We don't have time to talk about all of them, so maybe just pick a couple.
So we should probably talk about the most popular one then, Dr. Nick, which is the pill, also known as the combined hormonal contraceptive. That contains 2 different types of hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and it needs to be taken every day.
And the most common brands are packed with 21 active pills and 7 inactive pills, which are sometimes called sugar pills, even though there's actually no sugar in them at all. And it's during the inactive pill week that women have a bit of bleeding.
Now, one of the things that really frustrates me, Dr. Nick, is the pill was designed by men who thought that women wouldn't be happy unless they had a bleed every month.
And it's actually perfectly okay to run a couple of packs together and stay on the hormones.
Some women do prefer it, however, because some people get more side effects with the pill, and so having that time off can reduce things like bloating and spotting. And other women quite like the reassurance of having a bleed. However, there's no medical reason why you shouldn't run them together if you want to.
Now, the other form of hormonal contraception that's popular is progesterone-only types of pill, sometimes known as the mini pill, and it's frequently used when a woman is breastfeeding.
It's really good because it's a low-dose single hormone. There's also a longer-acting version called the Implanon, which takes the form of a rod. It's put under the skin, lasts for up to 3 years.
And that brings us very nicely to camels.
What?
Because legend has it that nomadic Arabs used to pop a couple of stones into the wombs of their camels to prevent them getting pregnant when they were on long journeys through the desert.
Dr. Nick, I can't imagine any self-respecting camel saying, yeah, go ahead, whack a stone into my uterus, no worries.
No, but it does bring us to what are known now as IUDs, or intrauterine devices. So, Dr. Isabel, what are those about?
Yeah, so they're a little bit more invasive to put in, but once they're in, they act really well. They last for up to 5 years, and they contain that hormone that we were talking about before, progesterone, which can also help with periods.
There are, of course, loads of other methods that we haven't mentioned, such as diaphragms, the Billings method, and then permanent methods such as sterilisation for women and vasectomy for men.
Finally, one for the guys.
Yes. Now, talking vasectomy, have I told you about when I was going to...
Dr. Nick, that is where I draw the line with this conversation. And moving right along, as my high school teacher said, hope is not a method. So make sure you have a chat with your GP or your doctor before you need contraception.
Many great things are made in Italy, including my husband and hair care. My Organics is an eco-friendly and cruelty-free brand exclusive to Chemist Warehouse. They're passionate about sustainability and their respect for nature. The entire range is packed with organic ingredients, but the best part is it's preserved without the use of any chemical additives, and it's suitable for all hair and skin types. We're using a lot more products on our hair, whether it be hairspray or dry shampoo, and over time that builds up. So it's really important to use a mask to get that hydration back into your scalp and your hair. The My Organics Goji Miracle Mask really helps restructure the hair. Rich in vitamin A, C and zinc, plus antioxidants, goji berries are a win-win for your scalp and hair, believe it or not. And what I love about this mask is it doesn't weigh your hair down. However, it leaves your hair feeling silky, smooth and shiny. Hair represents so much of our personality, our confidence. For me, hair is my armour. So no matter how you style your hair, it's really important to not have a bad hair day. I have had a mullet once or twice, but there was no mask then.
Jade Kay there on how to turn every day into a good hair day. And I have to say, having a new do puts a spring in my step, and so does getting a great night's sleep. In terms of overall health, it's right up there with diet and exercise.
Sure is, Joe, but for many people, getting to sleep and staying asleep is easier said than done. I was shocked to hear this stat, Joe. 1 in 2 Australians don't sleep properly, and around 40% have some kind of sleep disturbance. That's every second person.
Well, that actually, that's out of the two of us, I'm the one who's not sleeping. I'm the 1 in 2. So those stats are pretty accurate. And I've got to tell you that being unable to sleep for a prolonged period can feel like torture. You would do anything for a magical cure. So that's exactly what researchers at Southern Cross University are hoping to uncover with a revolutionary new trial.
So some of the things that cause bad sleep are is hormones and age can have a big impact on it. But when we look at physicality, the biggest impact is actually stress. So when we don't sleep, our body doesn't actually repair itself, so therefore we actually have cellular damage, and that can then cause major chronic diseases. And I think a lot of our chronic diseases actually come from lack of sleep. So CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of the cannabinoids in medicinal cannabis. So most people know probably THC, which is like the psychoactive or the high type feeling, but CBD is one of the other main cannabinoids. CBD actually helps with sleep quality. It actually helps to regulate the circadian rhythm. It actually helps with your REM sleep, so better like dreaming and quality and repair. It actually reduces inflammation. It actually helps you relax, which is one of the most important things, I think. It also has anti-inflammatory action. So all of those components can actually help somebody eventually get the sleep. CBD right now is what's called a Schedule 4, which means only a medical doctor can actually prescribe it. Last year, TGA announced that CBD would be brought down to a Schedule 3, which means pharmacists can actually prescribe CBD, but there's no registered products. So this trial is actually trying to really form good evidence to have a CBD product registered so pharmacists can actually dispense to people. So the people that we're looking for is people who have mild to moderate sleep disturbances. So they may have a bit of difficulty getting to sleep or waking up and not being able to get back to sleep, but are not severe. They have to be generally healthy. So they have to be an adult between 18 and 65. Doesn't matter if they're female or male or whatever they identify as. They do actually have to have good liver and kidney function. They have to have no cardiovascular events, and we have to look at their medication as well, because there's a number of medications that have potential or do actually interact with CBD. CBD has been used worldwide for a really long period of time. It's actually very safe. There's no toxicity and stuff of it, which is actually really good. It doesn't impair driving ability. It doesn't impair your ability to do things on a daily basis, which I think is really important. But it does take a while to work because it is an oil, and it does actually take time for your body to get used to it and rebalance. Hopefully, with everything going well with the trial, in early 2023, we'll have a product that pharmacists can actually dispense, and that will be helping, millions of people in Australia who have sleep difficulties.
Trial volunteers are now being recruited in Lismore, Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. If you're over 18 and have mild to moderate sleep problems, then you can apply via this email.
The trial results and any CBD products appearing on pharmacy shelves is still a way off. So for people keen to find a sleep solution now, Sarah Davison may have the answer. We find out the results of her 6-week bedtime boot camp right after this.
Keep going. Pumping iron, HIIT, PBs, supersets, no matter the lingo, GQ, the gym is the place for muscle health.
When we're talking muscle health, Heinzie, the mineral is magnesium, one of only 7 macro minerals we need to consume in large amounts.
Thankfully, our clever bodies show us when we're not consuming enough. Muscles twitch, spasm and cramp. That's because magnesium helps regulate contractions and muscle relaxations, supporting their overall function.
When we're speaking about cramps, Heinzie, we can turn to the herbal world. The suitably named cramp bark, or Viburnum opulus, is a flowering shrub native to Northern America and to Europe, and that's used in Western medicine to help relieve muscle cramps.
I love that there's so many options to keep our muscles fighting fit.
And we can find them combined in a supplement form, so we look for a convenient, easily absorbed formulation.
All right. Enough chit-chat. Now drop and give me 20.
I've got 20 for you, Heinzie. I've got 20 cents. And I've got $20.
Well, I'll have that.
The $20 I'll keep. You can have 20 cents.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Whatever you like.
The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Go Healthy's Pro Magnesium Muscle, a convenient, easy-to-absorb formulation to help support muscle function.
If you have trouble sleeping, the military-developed program that guarantees you'll fall asleep in 2 minutes and has been widely promoted on social media, Jo.
It's been 6 weeks of tossing and turning, deep breathing, meditating, affirming and visualisation, and Sarah Davidson has made it to the end, and we can't wait to hear if it worked.
Well, I have just finished off my 6-week trial of the military sleep technique and the results are in. While I can't say that it guaranteed I would fall asleep within the 2 minutes every single night, it definitely helped me establish a much healthier sleeping routine at night to really help me wind down. There are increasingly nights where I don't remember falling asleep, which I think is a really good sign. I'm not really up tossing and turning, and on the nights where I was like that, at least this routine or this technique really did help me bring my mind back to focusing on a calm place or calming my breath work so that I wasn't reaching for my phone or trying to turn on the TV or stimulate my brain again. So overall, I think it has done wonders for my sleep routine, even if it's not necessarily a guarantee.
Oh, it's a lot of effort for Sarah there. For it not to work, it's disappointing. I don't know if I'll give that a try.
Well, I think well done to Sarah for taking on the challenge. I think she's saying that maybe there's been some improvement, but it's falling asleep in 2 minutes. That's a pretty high bar to cross.
It's true. It's a massive ask, yes.
Well done to Sarah for taking that one on for us. So that's our show for today. Great to have Angeli Rao join us today, Jo.
Oh, it was awesome. And you can hear me and Gerald Quigley on the House of Wellness radio show every Sunday. And don't miss the weekend lift out with some interesting reading on women's health.
Thanks as always to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you again soon.